Hello, hey there. I hope you're doing well. And again, I'm here back in this beautiful park to share with you this short topic about closure. Closure is when things come to an end and somebody gives you the reasons why it has come to an end. And in life, it's human nature to demand the reasons why certain things happen. And I'm talking about certain events that will happen in your life that will involve you losing something or someone. Let me give you some of the examples, like losing your loved one, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your grandmother or grandfather, or even a best friend. Very painful thing to think about it. Or losing even a child or a spouse, breaking up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend that you had known each other for quite some time, or even a divorce between a husband and a wife. These are very painful events that will leave you with so many questions which are never answered. Why those people left you? There are other events like losing your job, failing to get a visa to travel, to go to another country, failing an exam, or even losing a job interview, or even being fired from work. All these events might happen or may have happened to your life. And sometimes, as human nature, as we are, we sometimes want to know the reasons why. Why didn't I get a visa? Why did I lose a job? Why did she stop talking to me? Why did he decide to divorce me? Why why did this thing happen? The reasons. Why did my child die? Why did my father have to die at this time? And finding those answers can be very hard and difficult. There are people who are easy to accept and move on without getting the reasons. They are there. Some of them, a good example of those people who are able to accept the reality that things happen and they can move on, are elderly people. An old man or an old woman who has been seeing that his or her fellow age mates are passing away, they are dying, might be easy to accept death compared to a young man or a young woman, because they know their time is also coming up. But you see, not all of us are older people or elderly to understand this thing about death and somebody has died or somebody has left us. Even for an elderly person, for someone to walk away from him, to leave him, to even divorce, it might be easier compared to a younger person who was investing and even planning to spend a lot of time together with that person who is divorcing and leaving him or her alone. The same way with these elderly people, they have experience. If it's a loss of job, if they can no longer go on working, probably they will find reasons and say, hey, maybe I'm too old to continue working for this company or doing this job. So they already have the reasons. But now that you're young, listening and watching me, certain things will happen to your life and it may be very hard for you to comprehend, to accept the reality that there are reasons why somebody has left you, but you may never know the reasons. You may never know the reasons. And some people find it very hard to move on without getting the reasons. Even when they are told the reasons, they still do not move on. I have talked about the death of my daughter, may her soul continue resting in peace. Passed away at the age of 11 months after a short illness of 3 days. And those 3 days when she was fighting for her life and the doctors and the nurses trying to save her life, I could see how she was struggling to continue staying alive. But eventually she passed on. Very young, beautiful girl. And the first few months and even years, I always wanted to know why. Why did this happen to me? Why didn't the doctors and the nurses save her life? Asking those difficult questions. Why? Trying to connect the dots and even blaming myself, regretting, cursing, and even seeing that I failed as a man, as a father. I had so many questions and mixed feelings. And that specific event changed my life. It began to show me that things will happen in life. You will lose certain things and even people. And even when you want to know why, you might never get the correct answers. The doctors or the nurses tried to explain to me that she lost so much water after getting a bacterial infection, and she couldn't survive those few days that she lost so much water in her body. And by the time she was getting new water or another water, it was already too late. But you see, even when I was being told that, I couldn't understand it. I couldn't believe it. I thought that there was another better answer that I was supposed to be told. I'm using this example to show you how things will happen in your life. Even here on social media, you will meet someone you start talking, chatting with, and build a very beautiful connection, whether it's a man or a woman. And then along the way, the same person will disappear. The same person will stop talking with you. The same person will stop chatting or even planning to see you. And then you'll be left with so many questions. What did you do wrong? Why? Are you not good enough? Are you not educated enough or beautiful enough? Or is your tribe or your race the main reason why this person is ghosting you or stopping to communicate with you? These days, yes, people will walk away from you. It's a fact of life. Someone you have spent some good time together with will also still walk away from you. And it is so sad that that same person may never tell you the reason. The others who leave you, who go for another person, it's much easier. You will actually have the reason and say, hey, this man left me to that woman, and that is the reason why. It's because of the other woman that he has walked away from me. But what if, even if you know that he left you for another woman, you still have question marks? Why? Why the other woman? Why did he have to go and do all this behind my back? Why? You see, even when you see the reason why he left you is because of the other person, you still demand for another explanation, the closure, the reasons why he did that. And the people that I want to address, or you who is watching and listening to me, when you're trying so much to get the reasons, to get this closure that I'm talking about, sometimes it will help you to improve. I know you want to know where you did wrong. It's very important so that you know what to do in the next relationship or in the next time. Even when you lose a job interview or you don't get a visa, you need to know the reasons why so that you can prepare yourself to get another job or never to fail to get a visa. It's a human nature. But sometimes people can never get to that level. And that's why I'm making this short video to remind you, hey, you might never get closure. You might never know why a certain person left you, a loved one left you. You may never know the correct or the main reason. And that is what I have come to learn. When you do not know the main reason and you are spending so much time connecting all those dots and then sitting, regretting, always blaming and cursing and saying, hey, if I did this, if I didn't do this, if I was born this way, if I came from this family, if you're trying to connect and justify the reasons why these things happen to you, but the truth is, it has already happened. The longer you're taking time to connect the dots, to find out why this thing happened to me, there are people who are moving on. You know, you can lose your parent. Maybe you lost him or her 10 years ago. The same time with your fellow classmate who also lost his or her parents the same time as you. Maybe even the same way your parent passed on, the same way your classmate also the parents passed on. But when you compare yourself with him or her, the steps they are making, the way they are moving on with life could be totally different. Maybe they have accepted the reality that this thing happened. It's happening for everyone. And all people will go through certain things, especially what I just said. And he has accepted and started to move on. There are strategies that I will quickly share with you that some people use. Even for me, I have tried to move on when certain things happen. One of the most best strategies that I want to share with you is this: writing down your feelings. You know, if someone leaves you or someone left you, get a piece of paper and a pen. Write down the feelings you feel about this loss. Be honest to yourself. You don't have to write it for one day. Some people write this letter, a long letter about the feelings, the things they are going through. And in these feelings that you're writing down, you are speaking to your emotions. You are going through the journey of controlling and owning your emotions. People here on Facebook or on YouTube or WhatsApp or Instagram don't really care about what you're facing or going through. They don't really care. Even your spouse, or even if it's another person in your life that you think has come to help you, they don't really care about your feelings. But when you write down the emotions and then you see that these emotions are affecting me to do these things, from this bitterness, I am taking my life into alcoholism or sleeping more with different women or men to cope up with the pain that I'm going through, or I am falling in love quickly. As soon as possible, I meet someone to cope up with the loss they already had. When you write down, you begin the journey of controlling your emotions. People who move on without closure know how to control their emotions. They don't wait for another person to tell them that these emotions are leading you to the grave. These emotions are not helping you. They have learned to control and own their emotions. When you own the emotions, then you take the power to yourself. If a man leaves you, and then you are able to control and own your emotions, then you have the power. You don't now need to rely on him again anymore, because the person has already gone. He's no longer there. Whether he's alive or dead, maybe they will never come back again. But now that you have the power to move on again, you have the power to control how you feel, how you think, how you see the future, then you do not sit down and rely on hoping that maybe they will come back. Maybe it's a dream. Maybe it's your mistake. Now you have the power. One of the other strategies I have used is to be mindful about your life. You know, if tragic events happened to your life, one of the best things you need to ask yourself is, this thing happened to me last year or a few years ago. When this thing happened to me, my life has never been the same. I have been doing ABCD. And these things are affecting my life. You know, the death of someone can affect your life and can affect your relationships with many other people if you don't check it. Let me repeat that. The death of a loved one can affect your relationship so much with other people that you could have avoided going through the same bitterness and anger towards innocent people that you're meeting in your life. If you can check what this loss is causing you, what it's causing to your business, to your job, to your life, to the people who are again close to you, how is it affecting you with them? You take that stock, then it's a high time you have to ask yourself, my lifestyle is changing, but where is it changing to? Where am I heading? Since this loss happened, where am I heading? Since my mother passed on, since my father passed away, my life has not been the same. And there are things that I'm doing that are actually affecting my life and health directly. Your body doesn't know what loss and pain you're going through. Maybe the brain, most important part, knows that you are going through pain and a certain loss. But the body down there, from your head going down there, your hands, your legs, and any other body parts, do not know. And that's why if you are full of bitterness and anger because somebody has left you, somebody has ghosted you, somebody has stopped talking with you, and then you are driving or you go and drink alcohol and then you sit on the driver's seat to drive, you might cause an accident. You might actually die, or you might kill people because the body is no longer functioning. Your emotions are not yet in power under you. And that's how these things of looking for closure can affect your life even for many, many years to come. I want to remind you this as you're watching and following this. Sometimes closure will never come. Or sometimes it will come too late. But before it gets you, before you get the closure, you need to go back to your normal life. When you cannot do it, there are people to talk to. I know people these days listen to your story, listen to your pain, and then they turn against you, use it against you. People have become very weird these days. You can't even open up and tell them, hey, I lost this person, I lost this thing, and this is what it's doing to me. And the same people will laugh and judge you. But there are people who can be really genuinely be there to listen to you. It's your job, as I say, nobody's going to control and help you to deal with your emotions. It is absolutely your job, 100%. No any other person. Your children will never do it. Your brothers will never do it, or your sisters. Not even your spouse or even another person or another job. But there are people that you will be willing to share, not all the details, but just to open up. Don't be quiet, locking up yourself in a room, always blaming and cussing, and the feeling that your world is coming to an end. Whatever you're experiencing, another person is experiencing, or somebody else has experienced. There's nothing new in this world. There's nothing new in this world that is happening to you and to your family. Someone somewhere in another part, in another continent, is and will go through the same situation. It's only that you don't know. You never see it or you never hear it from them. But my message to you is this: when closure doesn't come by, remember this video. Sometimes you will know the reasons why things happened. But when you do not know the reasons, maybe the energy you're spending to find out why is the energy you need to stand up, wake up, move on with life.